Another day, another story. Suleiman ibn Dawood is an Islamic prophet, son of the Prophet Dawood, David. Identified with the biblical King Solomon. Suleiman was the son of the Prophet Dawood. He learned much knowledge from his father and was chosen by Allah to be a prophet. And was given mystical power over all creatures, including jinn. After his father's death, he became king of the Jews. His kingdom was vast, extending as far south as Yemen. Suleiman completed the first Jewish temple, begun by his father Dawood. He was also known for his wisdom and justice. When he was 13 years old, Dawood, peace be upon him, told him to instruct Banu Israel in his place, for he had the ability to make right judgments. But the people disagreed with this decision. Then Dawood, peace be upon him, gathered all the respectable men of the sons of Yagud, peace be upon him, and asked them, "What do you say about Suleiman? Let each of you take a cane and write his name on it and leave it in a locked room. Whoever has the cane will sprout and rule." Everyone unanimously agreed and did as the prophet had commanded. The next morning, green leaves appeared only on the cane of Suleiman, peace be upon him. The people, when they saw this, calmed down and accepted Suleiman, may peace be upon him. Allah granted him both kingship and prophethood, both men and jinn were subject to him, beasts and birds and even the wind were obedient to him. Rabbi auzini an ashkur nimataka al-lati ani hamta halaya wahala walidaya wa an amala salihan taridahu wa adhilni baramatika fi hibadika as salihina. Rabbi auzini an hashkur and nimataka lati anamta alaya wa ala validaya wa an amala salihan tardau wa adhilni by ramatika fi ibadikya salihan. O Lord, instruct me to be thankful for your mercy that you have shown me and my parents, and to perform righteous deeds with which you will be pleased. In your mercy bring me into the number of your righteous servants. Surah Al-Naml, Ayat 19. Dua of Prophet Suleiman. In spite of his high position, he was a very simple man who was friends with the poor. He considered the poor to be those who had no love of worldly things in their souls. He would sit down next to them and say, "A poor man sits down with poor people." He had a great kingdom, but he was far from loving the worldly, so he counted himself among the poor. The prophet, Suleiman, was a poor man who did not eat his fill of wheat bread, wore only simple woolen clothes, used the money earned by his own labor, and did not touch the common treasury. He at length called people to monotheism in different parts of the earth. He had a large silk carpet woven for him by the jinn. Suleiman, peace be upon him, could be carried anywhere on it. He also had a hoopoe bird, which carried out his commands and served him as a messenger. With her help he called the Empress of Yemen, Bilqis, to the faith and subsequently married her. The angel of death was a friend of Suleiman, peace be upon him, and often visited him. From him the prophet learned the time of his death. Israel, Pbuh, said to Suleiman, Pbuh. It will happen when such and such a plant grows in the mihrab. On the place where the prophet was bowing down, from time to time a plant would grow and tell him about its name and the benefits and harms it brings. Suleiman, peace be upon him, wrote it all down and transplanted it into the garden. One day while he was praying, a plant grew again, a plant that foreshadowed the prophet's death. It informed Suleiman, peace be upon him, that the hour of his departure from this world and the destruction of this mosque had come. He, as was his custom, ordered to transplant it into a vegetable garden and record its useful properties. And he himself began to prepare for death. It was a common belief in those days that the jinn knew secret things. Suleiman, peace be upon him, asked Allah to conceal his death from the people, so that they would be convinced that the jinn had no control over the secret. The prophet went into the mosque, approached the mihrab, leaned against the staff and died in that position. The people thought that he was in the worship of Allah. The prophet, said to the prophet, I am the prophet, and the prophet, is the prophet, of the prophet, When his staff rotted and broke, Suleiman, may peace be upon him, fell down, and only then did people know of his death. He died at the age of 53, and his wife Bilqis, who loved him dearly, also died after him.